Hello once again. I'll bring you this video with a backdrop of human existence, exchanges and regimes and empires, all of them ending at one time or another. And today sees a mammoth turn of events, but sadly this map doesn't give predictions. I must say that today is probably the most exciting and dangerous time to be alive in this world, simply because of the massive changes that are about to explode onto it. And I sincerely hope I live long enough to see it all pan out. Many people won't. Over the years, I've witnessed the fall of an empire and also a rapid decline in morality and cohesion of a society. But as things stand, much worse is to come. I can assure you of that. How many empires have there been, you may ask? Well, much of what we call history consists of between 50 and 70 empires that once ruled multiple peoples across large chunks of the globe. Yet, as time has passed, the lifespan of empires has tended to decline, and the average time for this is around 250 years. We've had the Roman Empire, the Mongol Empire, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Byzantine Empire, the Chinese Empire through all its dynasties, and the Spanish Empire, to name just a few. And the biggest one of all was the British Empire. And that's not a boast, it's a statement of fact about imperialism and its many evils it's inflicted onto the world. Built over many years, it grew to include large areas of North America, Australia, New Zealand, Asia and Africa, as well as small parts of Central and South America too. Countries all used by a regime of power built on exploitation, because that's what it was. In 1913, 412 million people lived under the control of the British Empire. That's 25% of the world's population at that time. It remains the largest empire in human history, and at its peak of its power in 1920, it covered an astonishing 14 million square miles. That is close to a quarter of the whole world's land area. But by the end of World War I and World War II, it was all over by the shouting. Just as all empires, it died with a whimper, and now is nothing more than a vassal state to a regime. Another regime, America. At the time of my very short basic modern education, we were actively encouraged to applaud the British Empire. But of course, as we grow up and we educate ourselves, we realise we were indoctrinated into believing it was all great indeed. It wasn't. It's just exploitation of millions of people, and now we are paying the price of that exploitation. Now, the American hegemony is something different, but it's still basically an empire. A hegemonic empire maintains control by making other people want to be part of it, typically by rule of cool and bullshit, and being the lesser of the two evils of the one in the East. Therefore, it justifies all of its potential infringements in civil liberties or human rights as a necessarily evil the world needs, or so it thinks. Just go onto Google and check on the American military bases all over Europe, and that will give you an idea of the power it has gained, and its unwanted expansion has now come to a head and chaos has ensued that could possibly end the world. All because one country wants to rule the world, the good old US of A. Now, America has its allies in Europe, but that's about it. While Europe embraces America, it is unwittingly destroying itself in the process, and countries follow blindly with their installed puppets of young, gullible prime ministers. But having said that, there are many rumblings going on all over Europe with the electorate on the streets protesting. And then the other side of protesting is a country like Poland. Poland has just banned the charging of mobile phones in offices, and electric shavers may only be used once a week, along with kettles and freezers. They must be switched off permanently. Office cleaning has been banned, and their Prime Minister has implemented this until the 28th of February 2023. I can only look on in disbelief at this incompetence and stupidity. We live in very turbulent times, and the reality has yet to hit many because most people don't realise what's going on. I can quite quietly, confidently predict that in the next 10 years there will be the biggest social and political upheaval the world has ever seen, and regimes will most certainly fall. The next 10 years will be really difficult ones as the world adjusts accordingly to accept the new world. The Great Reset will happen for sure, but it won't be the one people are predicting. The likelihood of billionaire philanthropists taking over the world is unlikely. It is more likely to be the economic change of world currencies, and the dominant ones now will surely fall. Looking at the financial world, it appears to be in absolute chaos. But what do we do? That's a big one, and I just don't know the answer. What most of us have spent a lifetime accumulating could be snuffed out in a moment, that's for sure. And there's nothing we can do about it. And normal folk are impotent to act because they just don't know where to turn. And I personally think that 1929 crash was small by comparison to the one that's coming. The only thing that worries me is the development of computers, especially quantum computing technology, which is well underway. The dangers of that are manifold, but mainly the introduction of transhumanism is quite possible, where computers rule the world and eugenics take over. You think it's a joke? A very, very dangerous route to follow, that's for sure. If you read 1984, and I love this dystopian novel, but frighteningly it's becoming a reality. Computer modelling by computer programs influencing computer programmers to influence computers, but made by computers. That is just crazy and scary and very dystopian. Now, we all saw the debacle of computer modelling by Professor Neil Ferguson with his predictions that were radically wrong, and with the help of SAGE, that's the Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies, where we all suffered unnecessary lockdowns, while the political classes ignored them completely, including Professor Ferguson, who regularly visited his mistress in their love nest for their carnal pleasures, while old people died in their homes. A tragic outcome implemented by a buffoon who should be on trial for crimes against humanity. And the real tragedy was his computer modelling was followed by the World Health Organization, and look what happened. Total global fear and consequent compliance by draconian rules all over the world. This winter will certainly be the winter of our discontent, and just maybe many more to come, and that is quite possible. I'll leave a link to a live video I watched. It's Danny Haiphong and Clare Daly. Danny talks a lot of sense, and Clare is a woman I would certainly follow anywhere. She definitely isn't the type of woman that is young and has been placed in power to appeal to students and the gullible. Clare is certainly independent, and I very, very strongly recommend this video indeed. I applaud her and her partner Mick Wallace for their common sense attitude. I would strongly recommend watching this video because Clare is very, very anti-war, but also very anti-EU, even though she speaks in the EU chamber. Sadly, her unmixed time in the chamber is usually when most people are not attending because they are deemed as radical thinkers and dangerous. They're not. They're just telling it as it is, and the EU does not like the truth. I'll leave you with this thought. Pandora's box is one of the most descriptive tales of human behaviour in Greek mythology. Ancient Greeks used this myth not only to instruct themselves about the weakness of humans, but also to explain our biggest downfall, human frailty. It's sort of a tale similar to Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden and Paradise Lost. We would all benefit from the wisdom of the ancients, because although we have advanced spectacularly in technology, we have degenerated massively as a civilization. Now Pandora opened the box, releasing all the evils of the world, and the only thing left in the box was hope. And that's all we have. Hope in a better world. Will it come? I hope so.